What up, friends? Geoff Fienberg with you on the Wednesday night edition of the Geoff Fienberg Show, presented by PrizePicks here at FTNDaily.com. I'll be joined by my good buddy Andy Lack at ADP Lack Sports on Twitter. We'll talk all the goings on in the world of golf. Pretty busy week, right? Between the match yesterday, Scottish Open, this glorified Corn Ferry event with a big title sponsor. Thank you to John Deere. And then, of course, the Open Championship. Might throw a little curveball at Andy, because as I sit here right now, I'm probably more interested in talking about the Open Championship. Gotten to watch parts of that final round from last time we were here. Continues to be airing on the Golf Channel. So lots to talk about. Before we get into all that exciting stuff, I really do believe, friends, there is an opportunity to take advantage of PrizePicks.com tomorrow on the golf slate. There's an opportunity. How do I put this? From a betting perspective, I think there's a pretty serious opportunity. Use PrizePicks, promo code FTN, 100% instant match bonus for $100. But I'm going to get right into it. Tomorrow on the PrizePicks slate, you can take Kevin Na at the same number as Brian Harman, or Kevin Na at the same number as essentially all the guys who are bigger favorites on the tout boards than Kevin Na tomorrow. Kevin Na, an exceptionally erratic player, so I wasted no time. Kevin Na, I'm picking on you tomorrow in my prize picks to start off the John Deere Classic. Over on Kevin Na, 68. Under on Brian Harman, 68. Just out of sheer principle. As a guy that likes to, do the outright wagering, there's no way a guy who's outright at 40 should have the same projection as a guy whose outright is 16 or even 15 to 1. I even saw maybe as low in some places for a guy like Brian Harman. I'm not betting Brian Harman. Certainly not betting Kevin Na. I could argue Kevin Na does bring win equity, but if he's going to play good enough to win the tournament, then, whatever. I'll take an L on my PrizePicks power play for Thursday. But if you haven't signed up for PrizePicks just yet, you get yourself in there. Use that promo code FTN, 100% instant match bonus up to $100. It's you versus the projection over at PrizePicks. So much exciting things, I guess, happening at PrizePicks. Personally, I hope it's the last hockey game of the season tonight. Folks at PrizePicks probably don't, because they'd love to make a couple more slates. Certainly, I would assume, but that is not what I'm interested in. That being said, NBA Finals, NBA in full swing, Euro Cup, Copa Americana. What am I forgetting? Fights this weekend. So it's all going down. It's all going down over at PrizePicks. Obviously, they'll have their updated golf numbers every single night, getting you set for the next day at the John Deere Classic. So yeah, that's about that. And I really, I'll tell you guys, I can't emphasize enough how much I would like this hockey game to end tonight, or this hockey series. I got a pretty heavy piece on Tampa to win the series at a pretty stupid number before it started. But I felt, time was time. I even had Tampa on the sweep at plus 650. Maybe I should have hedged it, but why would I do that? Did I hedge Patrick Cantlay in his playoff versus Morikawa? No. Did I hedge Harris English in his playoff versus Kramer Hickok? No. Did I hedge when it was Cameron Davis versus my nemesis Troy Merritt last week? No. So certainly wasn't going to hedge for a plus 650. So there's that. Speaking of plus 650, I bet on England to win Euros at the start of the round of 16. So we got that. But I'll get into it with my boy Tino, who's behind the scenes here at FTN. We'll maybe break that down more on Friday. I don't know anything. I'll probably be hedging out of that. There's no way I'm going to let myself lose money on that. And Italy looks like a plus 100, maybe even it could be plus money with all like just sort of this public vibe. It seems like that's behind England, and I'm coming home. And if Italy does manage to win the game, which seems probable, likely, who knows? I'm not a soccer guy. They're gonna like. I don't even mean Italy. I mean like soccer fans worldwide. It feels like are already making their memes to attack England with their "it's coming home" crap. But I don't know. The tournament's at home. They're in the finals. Italy's a madhouse. They're an engine. Props to them also. That'll be really exciting. I'm not a soccer guy. I'm going to watch 2 soccer games on the weekend. I'm even talking about it right now. You probably already left. Like Fienberg. I come to you to talk soccer. I'm not breaking down soccer. But I love sports. And Argentina's playing Brazil on Saturday night. So there's that. And I'll take you inside my life. COVID's been pretty crazy. We're finally getting out of restrictions here. This weekend, my wife is going away. You're like, oh, nice. Weekend alone, Fienberg. No. Kids are with me. 2 of them. One of them's potty training. I'm going to buy some extra Lysol tomorrow. She's getting away, getting a little spa weekend. Don't worry, I'll get mine in. Gonna go visit Mayo out east, get some golf in, going with the boys to Vegas. Already staring down that Charger schedule for roadies. So I'll get mine in too. We're a good team over here. But she's earned her keep. More than. So she's getting away this weekend. So we all me. So I'll watch those soccer games. I don't even know if I can. Might not be watching anything. Let's be perfectly honest. Oh, all right. Sorry, I've wasted too much time taking you into my brain for a couple minutes. Let's take you into the brain of someone way smarter than I. My boy Andy Lack, ADP Lack Sports on Twitter, pickthepup.com. From Monday through Wednesday, he's always hammering out the golf content. Even with his early looks on the weekend, I always when I find the time, they're great resources. But sometimes Sundays happen fast, and then I'm already in a booth with Mayo. I didn't get a chance to listen, but I always try to make the time to listen to Andy because he always helps me prepare. I'd say for getting in the booth with Mayo when I do get the opportunity to listen. Even Mayo's research shows. So I like that this has become a thing. For our niche community, the research show aspect helps me a lot. I've started listening to research shows. I'm starting to pick winners again. Coincidence? Probably, but I'll say no. Andy, welcome back to the show, my man. Since we last spoke, you made your debut with Mayo, so I guess that classifies you as like, big time, buddy. So congrats on that from me in this more of a formal setting. Not.
I really appreciate that, Geoff. And thanks for having me on again, man. Always a pleasure getting to talk with you. Yeah, man. I'll be totally honest with you. I don't know about big time, first of all, but I mean, when I recorded with Mayo, it was like 7 a.m. my time. I knew he had a huge meeting after. So I felt like he hated me because he was like in a rush and like very frazzled. And then after the show finished, I was like, oh my God, I totally just bombed this. I never felt like I got in a flow whatsoever. And I was like, this guy like hates me. He's like never going to invite me back on ever again. Like I totally bombed this. The next day he DM'd me. We had like a very long conversation, probably, as you know, like the nicest guy ever. I got to pick his brain a ton about just questions I had about like breaking into the industry and stuff like that. And he was like super engaging with me and all that stuff. So my perception was off. I'm really glad that it went great, but thank you for that.
Yeah, no, listen, a lot of guys, I have a lot of friends, people I consider friends, and maybe I haven't met them, sort of like you, who've been in that spot, and you're always like, yeah, it's like weird. It's like a call up. in
Oh,
some
big
ways,
time.
I guess.
Yeah.
And it can be nerve wracking. Pat knows he has that effect on people. And just quickly to piggyback off something you said about Pat, he has this like perception. Listen, the guy works as hard as anyone I've seen. I've
Dude.
worked in sports media like forever. The grind he's on, like even like before kids, like not Sunday night, like I'm like drinking watching this like final round. He's
No.
already doing like no, like I've seen it. I knew from go he was different than a lot of people I saw, but he also gives this perception of maybe not being genuinely as like good of a guy as he is. It's part of like the bit to like, sort
Yeah.
of throw shit at me, to throw shit on Tim, but he'll spend time with anybody answering their questions about like getting their own foothold sort of in this space, and there's honestly nobody better to get an opinion on, and he'll be probably truthful, maybe too truthful, but yeah, even Pat even jokes with me. I hope it just doesn't end in like 800 requests for him, but he's like, people like think that it's like I stopped, like I don't get asked like to do other people's shows ever. People like just like they know, because yes, he's busy, but he's like he would still say yes to people. But I don't know. He gives off this vibe. I don't know. Maybe he's mad that I've already said this. Pat Mayo's the man. He deserves everything that's come his way and more, and that will
Could
continue
not agree more.
to to come to come there. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back. Let's get this horse back on the tracks. I might throw you a curveball here, though, Andy.
I'm always ready for it, man. I know that's par for the course when we get together.
Well, I guess for starters, I don't really care to talk about like the betting or what have you. Your thoughts on the match on the match, like just as a broadcast, um, as a content event. It was very long, but it was
Yeah.
still quite entertaining. And sure, if they could find a way to skim a bit of time, and I think a perfect storm. It went long. There's an NBA Finals. I don't think that was a good look for like Charles.
Yeah.
But I guess here we were. But overall, I think it was entertaining. I think the cast was good. I don't think I don't think like a Bryson versus Brooks would be good. I think that would be not like dry humor awkward that Aaron Rodgers brought to the table in this event, but like I think you need fun rivalries as opposed to more like real ones, because you want them to banter and you want them to like kind of make jokes the whole time. So just I guess quickly from a content perspective, give me your thoughts on what we saw yesterday.
I really enjoyed it. Outside of the key point that you brought up is that I have to believe that going up against the first half of the NBA finals was not part of the plan whatsoever. I would be very surprised if that was part of the game plan for them, but I really enjoyed it, man. I to be honest with you, I had no idea what to do betting wise before the match. Like the Phil and Charles was one of the biggest wins of my entire life. And, I watched your odds checker video. I know you were on Bryson and Aaron pre-match. So congrats on that. And sharp money was clearly on Bryson and Aaron. Like it was very obvious to me that they knew, because always follow the money in Vegas, and like they knew something that we didn't, because that kept creeping up and creeping up and creeping up. And
Can
then,
I interrupt you on
of
that?
course,
Even
yeah,
as Aaron Rodgers makes these like claims that like everyone's like, oh my god, I have to bet them. Aaron Rodgers says he's played like 8 times this year, and like Brady's literally working on it. Like, like all whatever. The line didn't move. It only kind of started
hmm
to move in the hours before, as some really general public money was starting to come in on the underdogs. And even some of the sharper books didn't move their number, but some of the more like casual better books
yeah,
were
you can
like we
tell
were,
when,
you
yeah,
could get like minus 155 on Bryson and Rogers, but some of the sharper ones were still holding
yep.
in that 170
That's how you know.
165 um range. So yeah, I guess you are right. I even saw a guy who I follow on Twitter who I think runs a book. They're like we were 70% on Phil and Brady. And in my video, I'm like, people just they're perennial winners. They're just winners. They're gonna take this money.
And the Bucks, like they didn't even. That's when you know they have a lot of confidence on the other side, is when the money's pouring in on the underdog and the line's moving in the other direction.
But also, part of me in that lead up is like how much many people are actually betting it. Like I feel like they're doing this, but
I
like
feel like they get a
I'm
lot of
also
action
second
on this
guessing
stuff now.
myself because like the action might not be big enough. Like they just aren't even paying attention to what they're taking. It's game one of the NBA Finals day. Giannis
True.
just announced he's playing. Like they are not maybe paying it. This is an exhibition golf match. Like who's betting it that hard? I'll admit I actually got deeper and deeper into it, so it was a pretty nice win for me. As that Phil Charles one was, and as that first Phil one was, because it felt like no Phil in a cash game versus Tiger, like Tiger gonna have his Masters, but cash game, no, like all Phil. I did lose the extra gimmicky one, the Wolf Ricky one, which was like the
Oh, it's
most
Seminole.
COVID desperate
Yeah.
concoction, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I've probably spent too much time, more time on this. So quickly, like, what's next? Are Brady and Phil like just perennial players in this, or they really gonna switch it up? Could they turn it into two matches? Get like a gender mix thing going, maybe. Two matches would be fun, right? Like on the go,
I
maybe
I
easier
think
for TV.
I think
Uh,
Phil I think Phil's really good in this format. I think he really enjoys it. I think he thrives in it. I
and they
think he
owe it to him. Like TNT
yeah.
is essentially, he's committed to everything they've done. So it feels like they wouldn't, every move this event makes feels like Phil's involved. Other people might be changing parts, but Phil seems like the staple of it.
I
America
think
loves Phil.
I
So
think I think Charles is good in it too, whether he's a commentator or he's actually participating. I think Charles is good in this format as well. What did you think? Like, would you want to see Bryson back in this format? Obviously, take Brooks out of it. I think everyone would want to see that one.
no, he
But if
doesn't do it for me. Like I enjoyed it because I thought it was a good betting opportunity, but no, they could move him.
yeah,
He like even that bit on the first hole with like the tape, you're like, oh my
oh
god, he
my
made that
god,
joke
oh
himself.
my
Like if I'm Bryson, if I'm like no one has the wherewithal. Like I would like I'd literally like hire like a comedy writer to write me like 12 jokes that I could like just randomly spew that afternoon. But you could tell that was like some cornball thing from his own head, and that's just Bryson. Um, yeah, and even in my video, I'm like Rogers sneaky good. You have never seen him golf, but word is like he's better than Tom Brady. Let's move off from this. Move on to something more important. Not even the John Deere, not the Scottish, Andy. Quickly, Open Championship. It's here. It's going to be our last 4 rounds of major championship golf for the year. That's sad. I don't want to think about it yet. I did mention in my soliloquy off the top that I was alone with the kids this weekend. Next weekend, my wife is taking the kids to her friend's cottage, so I'll be alone. Early morning golf.
congratulations.
I can't wait. It's just like, oh my god, thinking about it now, I'm drooling like Homer. Um, but I don't know how to put this. It's my original instinct was this is going to be a weird bet, like not a super dog, but I like guys will feel so live. The Darren Clark thing, an Open Championship. There's so many variables. This course could really tame, hold back some of the longer hitters. But as we're kind of just sniffing it, I'm always just staring near the top. I don't see myself getting away from the top. The two super elites that have my attention. Well, one super elite that has my attention would be Rory, and I saw Tyndall did the
Saw
trends
that
thing
too.
today. Is fine. That makes sense. A lot of those trends are why I liked Rory. He won. He's been peaking in Open Championships in recent years, somewhat, despite that horrible early start in that thing. That one. He's won one, and he just contended in a major. And I'm a believer in Xander. Um, I almost wouldn't want him to win Scotland if I was gonna bet him. but those would be the two like guys under 25 to 1 that have my attention. But as you sit a week out, like, how do you think you'll bet it? Not in terms of who, but like card construct, I guess would be the thing.
Well, you're tugging at my heartstrings talking about Xander. I'll just start with that. But um, yeah, so I haven't done a. I usually start digging in pretty deep on Thursday mornings. So I've kind of just scoured the landscape a little bit and started to put out some feelers and kind of start to think about where I want to go. Now, I'm going to say this. I think that this is a week where my typical process is going to be a little bit different than it normally is. As you know from listening to my shows, I'm a big numbers guy. I'm a big model guy. Um, I dig into that stuff pretty deeply. I'm not saying I'm not going to do that this week, but I just think I'm going to look at some things a little bit differently. I think that's what links golf kind of calls for. I'll never forget, Geoff. I went to Bandon Dunes last year, and I remember on like the third hole, the caddy was like, "No, you're not gonna want to like play that way." He was like, "You're not gonna want to hit that like high cut. Do you have anything else? Do you have like a low one?" And I was like, "I think I do." So
My
it's
low
just
one is just topping and getting lucky, right? Like going for a nice roll, the good miss. Like,
e-
okay, like that.
exactly.
I hit it so bad it could have been somewhere way worse. So we got to take that roll.
Exactly. My point is I think that it is a it is one tournament a year where there are a lot more variables
Yes,
that I think you're
of
going to
course.
just have to consider a little bit. Um, that doesn't mean I think it's like some total crapshoot and I'm not going to look at the numbers and I'm just going to like pick Lee Westwood or something like that. Although I do have some interest in Lee Westwood actually in my early research. But I think you just have to think a little bit outside the box with this one, Geoff, and to kind of come full circle about your question of who I may be thinking of. I think Spieth is going to be very popular. That's just the
Yeah, well,
early.
when I saw like, oh, Dave's putting out his trends thing today, I was like, oh, it's gonna be. Put it this way, my like super chalk came down to Rory or Spieth, and it's a major championship. I would just bet the player who I personally prefer.
So are you locked in? Would you say that you're pretty locked into Rory? Because
Well, I'll tell you why I'm
I
going
want
to
to
be.
bring you back to the U.S. Open where you were locked into Rory and then you got cold feet at the 11th hour and bailed on me.
Yeah, but here's the difference, and I got lucky at the U.S. Open because I hit like a pretty hurricane parlay. Is today because my buddy who just loves chalk, he's just like a chalk better. Football Sundays, he's the guy with that like money line parlay. Do you know who I
I
mean?
do.
Like
I know exactly. I have a lot of
teasers
friends like that.
always to the chalk. Like taking the 7 points to 14 would never even like never an option, which is fair. Whatever. Listen. I'm not like here to tell you I hit NFL winners. He's just like, who can I double up? Like, I want to make some parlay today. Like, who can I double up? And I was like, of the guys near the like, listen, if you did something with Rom and had a number, he's so unconscious. Like, first, actually, I should run this. I say, you take any of those top players and you double their number, I'm going to tell you that's an amazing bet. That's an amazing number. You're
Yeah.
asking me like, who do I like? Of the guys at the top, it was Rory, and he said England to advance, Tampa, and our Blue Jays. So I've got two, and Tampa's in the third. So I got Rory with a boost at Will Hill, like to like 39 to 1 if
Oh, that's solid.
Tampa can hold this game here today. On top of my Tampa pre-series heavy juice monkey futures that I have made. So I am going to be Team Rory, hopefully in I don't know what's going on there, but hopefully in sooner than later. I really want hockey season to end just so the TV networks here can pay attention over the other sports that I
Yeah,
love.
I'm ready for the NBA to be done over as well. I'm ready for football season. But okay, so you like Rory. Okay, I like that. I may be with you.
But
I
I don't know that if I didn't have this like bet today that I would be be there. Like I have no real hard inkling, and it feels like the variables make wanting to bet these guys less likely, from weather to the fact that I don't know, aren't the longer hitters like not at an advantage
Okay,
here?
let me ask you a question because I think this is a
Because
good
I don't know
exercise.
anything other than
Okay,
watching it a couple times on Golf Channel in like 28-minute spurts.
okay. I know I've been getting into it a little bit. I've been watching. By the way, I said this on my podcast, so I'd recommend this to anyone. Go on YouTube and just you can go to the RNA YouTube and you can watch an hour-long film of like every British Open since like the 80s. It's if you're just a golf fan, it's fun, but I think it could be also valuable for research purposes or whatever. But the question I wanted to ask you, Geoff, is because we did this same exercise before the US Open. At the top, are there any like immediate cross-offs to you? Like I'm gonna give you
Okay,
the
yes,
I mean, yeah,
yes.
that's what because I think there are for me. I'll give you the top 10 guys with the highest odds on average, just using the odds checker. So Rom, Brooks, Bryson, Rory, DJ, Spieth, Xander, JT, Cantlay, Morikawa. Of those 10 guys, are you like totally out on any of them?
I'm so not around for JT at the moment, but
Me
people I like
neither.
seem to like him in Scotland, and it wouldn't take, like, he's so good, Andy, that like he wouldn't need to win Scotland, but if you had a couple moments where you noticed it's working there for him and he's also like enjoying himself, that could maybe sway me. So I don't want to say hard red ink in JT, but like very close to red ink.
Me too.
Um, I hate to do it, but you know, Bryson, the more variables makes Bryson's red ink get like more blood red. If that
Miscut,
makes
51st miscut in three Britishes.
like the more variables, and Mayo brought it up, and like when Bryson has the game plan and he can stick to it, and he's like an NFL coach who can draw it up and the game stick to whatever, he's almost unstoppable or close to it as it can get in golfing at times. But when things can change on the fly, just sort of everything that the Open Championship
I'm
can
with you.
bring
I'm with you.
makes you not sort of want to be there. That's why Spieth to me is kind of the favorite in this regard. Just the way he does play, I feel works so well. But I said I had him and Rory close, and when it comes to a major, if this was a random event, like I would probably bet Spieth, but because it's a major, I I'm gonna bet the guy I want to see win, and I'd rather see Rory end his major drought of years than Spieth end his. Tell you that much.
Okay, so I'm with you on Bryson and I'm with you on JT. In fact, I may be even a little bit less confident in JT than you are. I just JT's like my favorite player. I've been trying to emulate JT's swing since for my entire life. I
Okay.
don't I don't like his I don't like his game for this. I know he's finished 11th here at the British Open in 2019. He went four British Opens, 53rd, miscut 11th. I don't like his ball flight for that may be very subjective now, but I just like I'm not good in lengths. I don't like his high kind of little like floppy cut. He can do some certain things off the tee. He has a low draw in his bag, but I don't like his natural style of play for the British Open. And I don't think that he thrives in difficult conditions like this. I think the wind thing with him is a little bit overblown. He's like done fine in wind. He plays well in Hawaii and stuff like that. But I don't know if I like him in this spot. I've seen some 30s on JT. If you get a 30 on JT, I mean, he's elite. I think that's probably worth a shot, but I I
Yeah,
don't
no, he
see it.
does. I follow that train of thought. I'm probably pretty close to it. I would say Also, like
And
from a
Morikawa
straight bet,
too.
not in terms of like, do I think they can win, but from a betting perspective, Rom is gonna be as close. Like it's gonna just
No
be
thanks.
Redding. Like
Yeah,
I'm not betting
not
it.
even
I'd
considering
rather
it.
just bet more bodies. I'd rather take two swings in the elite range than one. With the Rom price, you almost hope he wins this week if it's not one of your guys in Scotland. I mean, that would be scary because it would be like, like, oh, like when DJ gets in form, it's just like fuck. Like, right? Like those
Yeah.
moments. So you could be like, oh, screw. You could have this moment if Rom dominates in Scotland where you're like, I think I'm lowering my open exposure because this guy's playing, but also the numbers. You'll be like, by the time you see our maybe bumped up numbers on the other like really good players, you'll be like, I can't stop betting. um, so yeah, Rom though would be not a place where I'll be looking to invest any money. DraftKings, that could be a whole other issue because I'm one of those people that believes Rom's gonna win everything. So this would just be perfectly in line with that, and that's not even a bold statement. And it gets less bold as he makes every check mark that he's gonna make in the next handful of years. And by handful, I mean like cut off two fingers. He's gonna win everything.
You know who's like the type of guy that I could see what about DJ Jeff? Like why let me ask you a question. Like why haven't we seen any DJ drift? Like he hasn't had a top 10 on tour since February.
Well, we don't see this is a big complaint. It's frustrating. You hope as more competition enters the marketplace in gambling. I talk about this with Mayo a lot, Andy. In the futures market, they'll only knock them down. They won't bring them up. They won't. I'm not even talking about T. It takes them so long to notice that a player is bad because I feel like what makes them notice is they see, oh shit, we took like X amount of bets on like who would have been steamed like a month ago or something. I don't know.
I mean Brooks
Like,
maybe.
sure, I'm just
Spieth.
saying their
Yeah.
system is like noticing bets on guys. It's not there to notice not bets. So like in the
Yeah.
pre-ops, they never like in just saying like even as Jason Day was hitting not lows, like you'd always like be looking at major numbers, being like, well, he's still there. And then the week of, they'll obviously adjust it to sort of reflect I guess where they feel, but the futures aren't good at noticing in a lot of things. Even like guys mentioned to me, I saw guys having a conversation about it, like as it pertains like AL MVP odds. The guys who are playing well, their number is going down, and you're like, oh, this guy's gotten off to a slow start. They don't adjust. That like the adjustments are only one way. I've said too many words to get off of that. But again, you didn't really answer my question, Andy, and that is like how right now this isn't an answer. Things change. I commit and then decommit. What are you anticipating like the construct of your card? Like just top heavy because it's a major, or no, this is St. George's and I'm gonna play like just great like I don't want to play a 4-pack of top guys. I want to play like 7 or 8 and like attack a 40 to 80 range, a 30 to like 60 range. That's fun, and that's where first time major winners come from.
I could see myself probably doing a similar strategy to what I did at the US Open, which
But
was
stop. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to. The US Open feels like it's on a platter for us. And I
yeah.
guess the winner this year again, like literally, it's a what better name to add beside DJ Brooks, Bryson than fucking John Rahm right now? Like,
Yeah.
this one feels so much more like guess which gumball is gonna pop out. Like the gumball machine feels way bigger here. And I tell me what you're gonna say about the US Open, but I look at it like I can't think about it the US Open at all. Like to me, the possibilities feel so much more endless. In fact, I'm probably still gonna bet in the ranges I always do because that's what I do. So sorry for cutting you off, but I had
No,
to say
I
that.
listen, I think that people are probably going to misconstrue Darren Clark's win for the fact that this is like a total crapshoot. Like
Right, right.
like 8 of the last 10 winners were in the world's top 40 of the official world golf rankings of the British Open. 4 of the last 10 winners were in the world top 10. Shout out Tyndall's article. So, I
Yes,
mean,
and turn you off, but the as much as the US Open has their profile, the Open Championship, as Tyndall pointed out, and as Mayo retweeted a tweet from the Shane Lowry win that someone sent him, or he sent out in the lead up, the Open Championship has a very clear list of things that must be checked off for you to what am I trying to say? That box.
I got him. Yeah, I got him in front.
So yeah, give it to me here.
Yeah, so the big one that I think is really important, which is kind of where I started my research, is like British Open experience. So 8 of the last 10 winners
so had Morikawa then, right? Red ink. Like he's so low, even in Scotland this week. Like who could bet that, right? Like he's going there to play links.
I think so. It's hard to commit because like he could go out and just dominate in Scotland and stuff like that, but
it's hard to commit because it feels like a plotter's place. So it's just, I don't know, I can't cross off Morikawa. He could put the ball in the fairway and then beat it 8 feet. Like I can't cross this guy off. Did you see him at the US Open? Like he like if he hit his 5-footers, he wins probably.
Yeah, and from the very early research that I've done in terms of just kind of trying to get a sense of Royal St. George's and what it tends to ask of players, it's a lot. I mean, we say this every week, Geoff, but it seems like these fairways are relatively easy to hit, and it's a lot about the approach shot. So I pulled up, this is a quote from Martin Keimer. I don't know where I found this, but he was talking about Royal St. George's. He goes, I think the tee shots, they're not so difficult because the fairways are pretty wide. You just need to avoid the bunkers. There's always a penalty if you're in the bunkers. You need to chip it out and go from there. I think the key shots this week are going to be the 6 to 10 footers for par. Okay, obvious. And then this is what else I found. And then so in 2011, Royal St. George's, the top 3 finishers, outside the top 40 in driving accuracy, but 4th in greens and regulation percentage. So the vibe that I'm kind of getting from Royal St. George's, just in a vacuum, like totally early on, I still have a lot more to do. But what I'm thinking is it's kind of open off the tee, but if you get in the bunker, you're screwed. And it's a second shot golf course completely. But there's the misses are very penal, right? So you can kind of spray it a little bit and get away with it, but you can also make a huge number. But for the most part, it's looking like greens in regulation, and these guys, like the formula for Darren Clark and Dustin Johnson and those guys, they were a little bit more loose off the tee, but awesome with their irons. And that's why it's probably hard to rule Morikawa completely out. But, this is first British Open ever. I think, these guys, I think part of a British Open is you're going to get some weird things thrown on your plate. I can't remember what British Open this was, but I was watching the film of it. And there was one, I think it was 2016 or something like that. Yeah, it was Troon, where it was Phil and Henrik. So part of the reason why Phil and Henrik got out to this giant lead was because one side of the draw just got completely fucked. Yeah. Just literally, it was a fucking monsoon, Geoff. Literally.
That's the other part.
Exactly.
Listen, I guess I'm lucky now that this is the last major of the year, because it's hard for me to make futures on this major when there's majors ahead of it in that regard. I do have one Christmas bet with Mayo. We have Neiman at a big number, which I guess he's playing well. That's good.
Hell yeah.
But you're absolutely right. And a lot of people, it's who do you have? And they're who even I know always have futures. No, I don't bet futures on the Open. I'd rather lose points and just see the weather draw. I don't care. I got to, as much as the weather draw can change. So it's for me to, for not even me, it's not hard for me to bet a future. But some people I have to love a future so much for me to make it on the Open.
Yes. I would agree with that. And I think you're right because you run into this tricky thing where it's like, okay, we should all wait for the weather to come out. But it's like, well, the weather changes
Yeah.
like all the time there. So it's like you kind of just have to go with your gut a little bit. I still haven't totally answered your question, Jeff. I think that I am going to,
Yeah, but I wouldn't know. If someone asked me the question, I would like lily dip through like three different answers. Like
okay.
it's possible I do have a card that's like Rory 14, Xander 22, and then just because I'd have to, like, I don't know, Hovland at 30, and then that's it. Then like a couple guys who I just want to be part of the fun party with, like from 50 to 100, and then my long range Neiman future. Or I could have that card that's like all 30 to 100, or sorry, like 30 to 70, and it's like, could already guess it now. It would be like Reed and Hatton, and just like, no, if this thing plays a certain way, like this is the card. But you know, all in that range. So I don't know. I don't know. So I'm not blaming you for not answering the question, but
Well, hold on.
you didn't answer it.
Let me give you this. I, I don't see a scenario where I don't have one of like a Westwood or a Bezadenhout or a Leishman or a Norin or a Brandon Grace or a Molinari or a Poulter or a Wallace. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna have some of those guys. Even let me give you something here. Jeff, did you know that Sergio has has finished in the top 10 of 50% of the British Opens that he's played in, and he's played in 18 of them? I had no idea that Sergio was like this. He top tens like every single British Open he plays in.
That's pretty good. I'm sorry, my head's down. I'm just staring at a betting board right now for the British.
What are you looking at? Yeah, so
Oh,
like
I thought
those.
this guy would have like a big number, and I was like, maybe I should bet him before he wins in Scotland. But
Are you looking at Grace?
no, but I could get back there. This is also a horrible time to bet because,
I
as
agree.
I've said before, majors, the books know, like, you need this crap. Like, you want to make this bet now. 89% of this board is going to have better odds on Monday and Tuesday. Yes, there'll be like a couple guys that play great in Scotland and their odds because they win, or people are excited about their odds drop. And then there'll be a couple guys who a lot of the research shows are like, I can't wait to bet him. I'm going to bet him. And the book's kind of like, oh, this is going to be like that guy. So we're going to get ahead of it. You kind of even talk about it in your research shows. Like, I like this guy, but feel like he's going to be popular, as we all kind of do in doing early shows. So I got to wait to see. So this is like, you, if you need to make a bet today, you're either so confident the player is playing in Scotland and going to play well, or you just need your fucking heroin. No, because
I
the numbers
agree.
aren't good. The
They're
books know.
not
The
good.
books know. Like, this is like, this is a bad time to make a golf future, unless again you're like, no, unless it's like I said with JT. Like, you're a JT guy. There are big numbers on JT. You see him smiling, walking up the fairway, maybe even in a bad moment in Scotland, despite having a good scoring day. You're like, no, I've seen enough. I need to make that move. But you know how it is. These guys, these books will compete on come Sunday night, Monday, better numbers.
What about Fleetwood? Because
Yes.
he's our guy. Um, I'm so worried that like the Fleetwood numbers I'm seeing already are so bad. Uh, I mean,
I
I'm
got a
seeing
street book offering a nice one, and I don't
like above 50.
51.
That's
So,
good. Okay, because Jeff, from everything, and I haven't done a ton of
but it could
Scottish
be
research.
gone. Like, when that Scottish Open starts, they're
I
gonna
think he's
pull
gonna
their.
win. I think he's gonna
Well, I
win or
did.
play well.
I've made I have a small Scotland card. I bet Hatton and Fleetwood, and then I bet I missed Wallace, and then the number dropped, so now I'm not betting Wallace, so that'll piss me off. And I bet Guido for just, I don't know, because I'm part of that now.
You know, Finau's never finished worse than 27th in a British Open.
Yeah, I
He's
love
gone
Finau.
18th, 27th, ninth,
I
3rd.
don't need
I'm
to
just, I'm
start
just,
my like Finau on like the
I'm just
Wednesday
pushing your
before.
buttons. I know,
I'll
I
be
know.
there next Wednesday. I don't need to start talking about it this Wednesday. I don't mind how this conversation has gone. It's kind of what I wanted to happen. Um, but now that we're here, let's just finish it off. Your John Deere. Just give me a couple minutes, or just run through your card, I guess, for me.
I ended up, so I found a 22 on Henley. I thought that was good. I like Russell Henley this week. I think this is a perfect course for him. His irons have been so good. I mean, he is two starts. We kind of saw this a little bit with Harris English. I feel like where he's in the mix at the Palmetto, he's in the mix at the U.S. Open, and he's just an informed player. He wins. Henley, he's in the mix at the U.S. Open. He's in the mix at the Travelers. Kind of collapses both times on Sundays, but both has a shot. Like he's just in form right now. He's hitting his irons. I'm gonna play Russell Henley. Farther down I thought 22 was fair. I don't think that he should have worse odds than Harman. And then farther down the board, Geoff, I got a couple guys that, it's squeamish. For some reason, I bet a lot of guys that can't putt this week. I don't know why I did that. Maybe it was because I had so much exposure to like Brendan Todd last week. And I figured like, the good putters don't putt sometimes too either. But I bet Johnny Vegas at 70. I think that's a good number on Johnny Vegas. There's been some steam on him clearly because I've been seeing him as low as like the 40s. But I bet into an early Johnny Vegas on 70, and then I bet on I bet a bunch of guys, but I bet Wise too at 55. I thought that was a good number on Aaron Wise, if he can just putt. But I'm we'll see.
Wise, I made a decision. I made an ad today. I added Redmond,
Oh, I bet Redmond too. I bet Redmond too.
you have.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
was
Oh,
between,
you were expecting me to go on Redmond. I bet Redmond. I don't know why he didn't come to mind first. I love Redmond.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I almost bet him last week and I dodged like that big crowd on him. And now it's
Yeah.
like the same or bigger number at a way worse field and an event that I still think works for him. Wise is the guy I was deciding between, and even Hostler, because I wanted to make an ad. I just like have a hard time believing Hostler would win. I could see him playing really well. If he wins, Mayo, like I guess it'd be fun, laugh at me for not betting. People are betting him, like a lot
A
of people.
lot of people are betting Bo
And I hope
Hostler.
he plays great. I'm a Bo Hostler fan. Aaron Wise winning would probably sting me the most, but I've been running good, so I'd have to.
You've been running great, man.
I would just have to get over. I would just like, okay, I missed it. Whatever. It's a major. Let's move on. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. I don't really. I got nothing.
I'm gonna
John Deere, man.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna play a little golf. I'm gonna get locked into the British. If one of my guys wins, I think it's a fun week for DFS. I feel good about some DFS lineups that I have, but with all these putting contests, man, it's just it can be over pretty quickly for your guys if they're not keeping up. And I love golf, so I'll watch it. But I'm primarily going to be locked into getting my British card all squared away, and hopefully I can get one of my guys in contention on Sunday. But yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to get excited about this tournament, man. It's like the worst field ever.
Yeah, but you say that you get if one of your jabronis starts like you're
are
locked
you kidding?
in.
Oh yeah,
you're locked in. Johnny's like one shot off the lead on Thursday, and you're like, okay, here we go.
Here we go, baby.
So yeah, whatever. And as much as I make fun of, like, not make fun, like I take my shots doesn't interest me. The hardened like gamblers out there will like bite back to tell me there's always an opportunity to make money, which is true. And there's probably better opportunities to make money, like in terms of the number that's going to hit this week compared to next week. And when you got like jabroni versus jabroni, like a lot of you guys that run the hard numbers, there are probably some great opportunities in terms of like heavy play head to heads. I'm not like invested in that, but there's so many like guys that I know that they laugh. Sorry, we're friends and they're buddies and we all do our own thing. They're like real gamblers. I just like have fun trying to get lucky with outrights. They would never bet outrights because there's like 8 gazillion variables on the road to an outright. But they love like smashing head to heads, much like they'd smash an NFL game where they see a like, no, that number
There
is
were
wrong.
there
That
were some
number is
good
wrong.
ones this week. I hammered a couple head to heads. There were some really appealing ones this week. Yeah, that's how I started out, Jeff, to be honest, is the head to heads. And then I got cocky and started betting outrights because it's more fun. But
Yeah, it's
I mean,
fun.
that's what the smart people do.
And like once you want like content, once you're doing content, you have to
Of
you have to
course.
like give your thoughts on who's gonna win. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm not mentally strong enough to say who I think's gonna win and then watch him win and then not have a piece of it. So all of a sudden I'm betting outrights.
Of
So yeah,
course. Of
I
course.
know exactly what that is about. Andy, thank you for taking the time
Of course,
to
buddy.
join me this evening. On the way out, if I said to just give me the winner, I'm assuming you'd come back with Russell Henley at me.
I thought you were gonna go British. I was
No, I
prepared to.
wouldn't do that. That's not
I was
fair.
no, I was prepared to say something on Xander. Yeah,
No,
Russell
that
Henley.
would be totally fair, but that I'm not. No,
We'll
no,
save
no.
that. You're coming on mine next
Yeah.
later in the week too, so we'll have a
I would
ton
say
of time
like
to
give me
discuss.
like a super long shot for the British that might be tickling you before you deep dive.
I like Bezadenhout, dude. I think
Okay.
Bezadenhout's really good. I think he scores. Like he's one of those guys where he's not gonna pop in the models, and he's not gonna blow you away with any iron stats, but he just knows how to get his way around the golf course. He doesn't have a ton of experience in the British Open yet, but he's played good on links golf courses. I like Bezadenhout would be the guy that I'm kind of eyeing farther down the board.
Sweet. How about a winner in Scotland? You said Fleetwood, right? Didn't you?
Fleetwood. Yeah, Fleetwood. I
That'd
mean,
be great.
Xander winning and just like ruining everything would be like so textbook. But like a Fleetwood. I'd go Fleetwood or Hatton. I
Yeah.
mean, those are I bet Fleetwood. I think that's all I bet. Yeah.
You know, I bet Fleetwood and Hatton. And Xander's at the point where like you could argue maybe you should bet him this week if you want to bet him next week. Just
He's
because
11 to 1 in
as much as
Scotland.
like people say elite players before majors, like maybe they lose focus. Like to me, Xander, this will come off as a knock, but it's more
I can take it. I'm used to it.
no, but it's like when you haven't won, he's in it forgetting a major drought. Like for a player of him, he's in like a winning drought. So like every tournament is like, no, like I got to end this winning drought. The major thing is its own thing. So
Hasn't won since our friend Nagel started his show.
Xander hasn't won a tournament since Nagel started his stream. Is that true?
It's true.
Yeah. Can I give you another one?
I think
Let me
he
give you
won.
another one.
I think he
Better.
won the week before.
No, this is better, and I got to get at it because I'm
Okay,
up
all right,
against the
we're done,
wall.
we're done.
This is better though. This is better. My good friend's brother, hardcore golfer, literally golf 5 times a week, loves golf. Golf is his life. He named his son Xander after Shoffley.
Oh my God.
Xander has not won since this child's been born. He's over a year old now. So I joke with him that he cursed Xander.
Oh my God. Oh
So
my
that's
God.
worse than Nagel's doing a show, but it's up there. Andy, thanks so much. We'll be
Of
chatting
course,
about
buddy.
next week, as you said. Keep an eye because I'll be joining Andy on his end at pickthepup.com. Find him at ADP Lack Sports. Yeah, find me here Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget, an opportunity on PrizePicks tomorrow, friend. Not only an opportunity to double your initial deposit 100%, use that code FTN, but an opportunity to pick on Kevin Na with the same number as the second favorite. Under Harmon, over Kevin Na. Use PrizePicks, make multi-sport power plays all weekend long. I am Geoff Fienberg. I will see you Friday. Thank you. Tampa Bay Lightning. Thank you, FTN Daily. Thank you, Prize Picks. I'm out.